Hello, hello. Jessica here with another layout for 30 Days of Sketches with Christy's Beautiful Life for Series 12. Today is day 6, and I am using this lovely sketch by Sarah Davies. So thank you so much, Sarah, for this lovely inspiration. I love this sketch. I was immediately drawn to the sketch because it looked like it had a white background, and this sketch just leaves a lot to interpretation. So I started with a sheet of white cardstock. I do use a thicker cardstock. I think it's 110-pound cardstock. I'm not going to use any super wet mediums or mixed media on this, but I am doing some stenciling and some splatter, so I like to use a thicker paper. And I've started with a stencil by, I think it's Echo Park, if I remember right, and it's just like a checkered design. And then I use this one that has some stars on it by Hip Kit Club, and the colors that I used were Wild Honey. No, I thought I used Wild Honey, but I didn't. I used Spiced Marmalade ink, Distress ink, and then Black Soot Distress Oxide. I didn't really care if it was inks or oxides. It didn't matter to me in this layout because I wasn't really caring about what the end effect was. Sometimes it depends on what I'm doing, if I grab the oxides versus the ink, because the inks are a little bit more transparent and the oxides are like a chalkier finish. But for this particular layout, it didn't matter. So I've done all my stenciling. I kind of mapped out where my photos were going to go based on her layout design and her sketch design. And I am using the Vicki Boutin Where To Next collection. So I've pulled out a couple pattern papers, and I'm just going to use up some scraps that I have. So I've pulled out a scrap of the smaller paper pad. Actually, I think it was a full sheet, but it was already ripped out. So I must have been wanting to use it for a different layout, and I ended up not using it because it was still a full sheet. And then this was just a scrap that I had from a previous layout that I did, and I am just ripping it and distressing the edge. And then that top piece that you see laying there underneath my photos is actually the branding strip from that smaller paper pad that I used to map my photos. So I've just torn that off, and I'm going to rip it in half and make it look like it goes the whole way across there underneath my photos. So I'm just going to adhere this down with my ATG gun. And then I'm going to do the same for the little strip. But as you can see, I have torn it in half now. So look, it's a kind of a little cheat. It looks like it goes the whole way across, right? But it doesn't. Nobody's going to know. So then I have this scrap laying here that has these little circles in it. I'm just going to go ahead and fussy cut out the little circles in this. There's 3 orange ones left. I'm actually doing a monochromatic layout for this. So it works for my monochromatic bingo square that is in the 30 Days of Sketches group. Christy made a fun little bingo card for us to work on filling out just to kind of use up some things in our stash. So this is crossing off my monochromatic layout square. So I'm sticking with a lot of orange colors and just throwing in some black just to kind of break it up a little bit. So I'm going to just adhere down all my photos there. These are some photos of my son. It's a funny story. It looks like he has a sweatband on to me, and that's all I can think of whenever I look at these photos is just the Richard Simmons Let's Sweat tapes, the Sweat Into the Oldies tapes. Oh my gosh, I'm like aging myself right now because my mother used to play these tapes and exercise to them all the time, and they were actually VHS tapes. So yeah, so I'm aging myself a little bit, but this reminds me of that because it looks like he's wearing a sweatband, but it's not. It's actually a Band-Aid. For like probably 2 weeks straight, he had to wear this Band-Aid on his head. I mean, we had to change it like a million times a day because he would sweat, it would fall off, and he'd get wet. It was in the summer, so he'd be playing in the water. We'd have to change it again when it fell off, and he actually cut his head. So he was on Daddy's watch, and he was out mowing a field, and they had stopped, and they were doing whatever guys do, I don't know, but they had stopped and were just getting ready to get back in the tractor. And my son he likes to sit on top of the mower whenever it's not running and clean it off. So he was cleaning off the grass off of it, and he ended up actually falling on top, and it has like these little rails on it and stuff. So he banged his head a little bit and had a little boo-boo for a while. So but he was fine. He didn't need stitches or anything. It really wasn't that bad. And he just made a big deal about having to have a boo-boo band on it for about 2 weeks. And at the end of that 2 weeks, I swear there was nothing even there. We were still putting a Band-Aid on it just because he wanted a Band-Aid on it. But yeah, that's the story behind these photos. It's silly because it just looks like a sweatband, and he was really great about it. And yeah, he was fine, but it was just funny. So I'm just pulling out lots of little Vicki Boutin embellishments. I love that she has a sticker book in this collection. Sticker books are my favorite. You guys have seen me use them in a lot of my layouts. I love the Simple Stories sticker books that they include in their collections because they're just jam-packed with stuff. And when you're doing a layout in a color theme, a lot of times these sticker books make it really easy to do that because there's so many colors mixed in here, and you can just literally pull just one color from it and make a complete layout. So I just love them. And sometimes I pop up the stickers for dimension just for something different, so it's not all flat. And you'll actually see me do that. I'm gonna pop up those little circles off my layout. So all the little circles that I cut off of the pattern paper, I'm gonna pop those. And then I've popped up my sun. I think I already did that. So here I'm just adding a little border strip. Sarah's sketch had a little cluster of embellishments down here with some little borders and things. So I'm just gonna follow that same sketch design, and I'm gonna put this little border here with my border punch. And then I'm just gonna pull off a couple more stickers. I love these sweet little butterflies. So I'm gonna put down all those. I think there was 3 total on that, at least that side of the sticker sheet. There may be more on the other side, but I didn't notice. But yeah, I'm just kind of filling it in here and there and adding just a couple things. I'm gonna pull out these die cuts. I love this giant little viney kind of leaf, or this little leaves. I don't know. It's like kind of like a fern, but I didn't want to use the whole thing because it's huge. So I just cut it down, and I'm just using a little portion of it. So easy peasy, right? And I thought it looked so cute, just tucked right there in that little cluster. Now I am gluing down some of these stickers because I found that some of them they just don't want to stick. That top butterfly seemed like it was stuck down pretty good and wasn't going anywhere, so I didn't bother with that one. But yeah, sometimes I use some Nuvo glue on those just to make sure that they're not going to move around in my book over time or anything. And then I love this little flower. It was orange. I just pulled that out of this sticker book, I think, as well. And then this flower I'm actually going to cut in half. I cut it off of that die cut. Again, they're huge, so I end up cutting a lot of them down and just kind of tucking them around my photos and things because they're just so big. And I find them hard to use sometimes. This umbrella, I kind of played with it. I wasn't sure if I wanted to use it, but I really loved the way that it looked up there, and I thought it was so cute that the sun was kind of hiding under the umbrella. So I really wanted to use it under there. So I end up popping it up with some Thermoweb foam squares, and then I glue down the pole. I don't know, what is that called? Pole, I think, for the umbrella. You know what I mean. So I ended up gluing that down since my photos already had a little bit of dimension anyways because they were distressed. So I just glued it to my photos and popped up the umbrella part. And then this just says my heart because he did have a boo-boo. So, hurts my mom a little heart. So I had to put that in there. And then I'm just adding a couple of the puffy hearts. So I stuck with just the orange and blacks, a little bit Halloweenish, but I don't think it looks too Halloweenish. I was kind of worried at first that it was gonna look like a Halloween layout, but I don't think it does, honestly. I love to scrap orange for some reason. That's one of my favorite colors to scrap. My Pinterest board, or not my Pinterest board, my Instagram board right now is full of orange. For some reason, I've been doing orange a lot, but I just love it. And last but not least, adding some splatters with some Heidi Swap Color Shine. I was going to say Sparkle Spray, but it's not Sparkle Spray, it's Color Shine. And I'm just adding that in a few little bits around my layout. So here is the finished layout. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Feel free to check out Sarah's channels below. I will link them in the description so you can give her some love and play along with the sketch in the Facebook group for 30 Days of Sketches. So thank you guys so much for watching and have a great day. Bye-bye.